Brethren, good day again. Welcome to my program. And I want to pray God's blessing on you. May you be strengthened and be encouraged that through this week that God bless you, just pour down His blessings on you. Today I want to run us through the scriptures again. And the reason for this little talk is things that I noticed when I was a very young Christian. And the way Christians or the elders, the older Christians, treated the younger, newly joined ones. And when I say newly joined ones, once upon a time I went to this crusade as a youth, and there was a guy, seemed like an elderly but not that old, and seemed as though he just got saved. And the melody, the beats that he left the world with, he came with it. And instead of composing songs that glorified the world, he started to use the same beat to glorify God. And I remember some of the elders grumbled him and the things they said about him. It caused me to wonder whether the young Christian who was old, but as long as you just joined, you are a young Christian. Okay, so you get the point. I was wondering whether that Christian were going to stay or backslide. Nonetheless, it taught me a serious lesson. As time went by, I noticed other things. Especially there was a preacher that I knew back then as a child Christian, a youth Christian, by the name of Jimmy Swaggart. And everybody, every preacher made Jimmy Swaggart an example and a sermon. Yes, and I noticed it was a trend with many preachers that when a brother or a sister falter, oh yes, they became a topic and a subject in the pulpit. Throughout these churches, I never knew one to ever restore a fallen brother. More so, a fallen brother or sister in sexual immorality. So my question here, how do we go about, or why don't we restore our fallen brothers and sisters? Why do we take the pulpit to condemn them and make them a topic? Why is it that we never walk over and say, brother or sister, such and such, but then we run behind their back, we run to the pastor, and we tear them down? And the pastor likewise go on the pulpit without asking, without seeing the brother or sister, and destroy, rend the brother, rend the sister to pieces. Yes, we become wolves and tigers in the pulpit against each other. It is very important to notice that your true brothers and true sisters look out for you at all times. But you will know your true brothers and your true sisters when you falter. Okay? Because when you falter, they are going to be the first to expose you, the first to tear you down. They will never come to you and say, brother, such and such is the case. Pray over you and encourage you to stand. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1. Restore such a brother or sister in the spirit of meekness. When after they would have fallen, the word of God is saying to you, go to them. Remember Jesus and his advice? Let me say command. His commandment to us. If you have an issue with a brother or sister, go to them. If they refuse to hear, then you know, take another brother. If they refuse to hear you and the brother, take them to the church. If they refuse to hear you, the brother, and the church, then kick them out. Count them as heathen. But we don't do that. We don't do that. We train ourselves to tear down the brother, and we train ourselves to tear down the sister. We do not restore them. Why? And we will do everything to tear them down. You know why? Because you are an enemy to the brother. You are only there pretending to be this preacher, this pastor, this loving sister, this loving brother. But you can't wait to see their downfall. You can't wait to see their outcome when you hear something happen to them. The thing is, are you a real Christian? Are you a real true brother, a true sister? Are you a real true pastor, a true shepherd of that sheep, that strayed sheep? My friend, if you were a true shepherd, a true brother, you would go, especially if a shepherd, you would go looking for that sheep that wander away into sin, that sheep that wander away into sexual immorality. As a shepherd, you would go looking and report, because you never witnessed it with your own eyes. You only overheard. And many of us love gossip, so we like to hear. You understand? It is not like somebody met you and challenged you as to why, because many people met me and challenged me as to why we don't preach against certain sin in the pulpit. When you start to preach against certain sin in the pulpit, then people pick you up and try to shut up your mouth. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about going and find the brother, find the sister, and tell them what you heard. And see if you can restore them. Pray for them and encourage them, yeah. But we don't do that because our pastors before trained us into these sort of bad ills. So the brother or the sister commit sin. They committed their deeds. You never see them again because of the shame. They are ashamed. They are afraid to return to church. They want to come back to church. And because they're afraid and ashamed, they go deeper and deeper and deeper into sin. They don't know who to talk to. And so after a while, they stop coming to church because the pastor heard and is behind the pulpit tearing the brother and the sister down. Yes. It's after learning this about Jimmy Swaggart in my young days. I remember, yes. And I took it into consideration. And for many years asked myself, after seeing this happening over and over again, why are the shepherds in the pulpit like that? And they passed such an ill down to the congregation. So they only love you when you are there. They only love you when you and the sisters are whatever, you can keep up or whatever you want to call it. But as soon as you falter, these brethren, these shepherds, you become the Christmas dinner. You are no more a brother, you are no more a sister. Sometimes on the street, they are watching you. You can't talk to a soul. Even if it's your own mother, as long as it's a female, they're going to tear you down. As long as it's a male, they're going to tear you down. So the young man, the young Christian man, was singing a gospel. Remember the word of God says, hymns and spiritual songs, etc. He was singing a gospel, but in the beat that he used to sing in before he became a Christian. We need to put these ills away. The word of God says, and spiritual songs. Hymns and spiritual songs. Doesn't matter the beat. And spiritual songs. If you have a problem, go to the brother and tell the brother that of your problem. You have an issue with it. Not the word of God. The word of God called it a spiritual song. Again, the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 18 to 21. Jesus himself admitted, he confessed that you allowing this so-called prophetess, Jezebel, who had seduced my servants to commit sexual immorality, which is saying here, can the servant of Jesus fall into sexual immorality? Well, listen. Number one, they were claimed by Christ to be his servants. Number two, they fell into sexual sin. Number three, Jesus did not deny them nor condemn them. Who am I? Who are you to condemn one another after falling into sin? Why does your church practice condemnation against fallen brethren rather than properly discipline them, properly restoring them back into fellowship or duties of the church? We are to admonish them. We are to admonish them according to Titus 3:10. After the first and second admonition, reject such a person, for they are heretic. They cling to heresies. In other words, if the brother or the sister, after admonishing them that sexual immorality is wrong, stealing is wrong, the sin is wrong, come out of it, and they refuse to come out of it, or they refuse to put it away, they refuse to stop practicing it, then you reject such a one. But if you have never gone to them, how do you know at all that it's true? After that things have been complaining to you, how would you know? If you yourself never been or gone to them, or took the person who reported it to them as evidence. My brethren, when a brother or a sister fall, they are still your brother, they are still your sister. Go to them, talk to them, try restore them.